partial function application, read-only property defaults, a new clamp function, and also 1 or 2 or 20 deprecations. PHP 8.6 is coming in November. There's still quite some time before it's here, but we're nearing feature freeze. So we already know what's coming, but also what's going. Let's take a look. First up is partial function application, PFA for short. I would call it the missing feature that should have been added in PHP a year ago, because it makes the pipe operator finally usable. In short, partial function application allows you to create a reference to a function with some of its parameters pre-filled. And it's especially useful combined with the pipe operator because that one always needs a closure with exactly one parameter. So instead of having to wrap a function with another function, you can now write much cleaner code. There's much more to tell about PFA. I'll be making a follow-up video in the coming weeks about it. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet to be kept in the loop about that one. Next are read-only property defaults. And it didn't make much sense to have default values for read-only properties before because that would essentially make them constants, a hard-coded value that cannot change. However, PHP 8.4 introduced property hooks and made it so that they could be defined on interfaces. And that kind of changed the situation because now a read-only property from within the context of an interface can have different values because there can be multiple implementations of that same interface. Long story short, we can now set default values on read-only properties because of this, and I think that's really good. Next is the polling API, and I want you to not overhype it. You might think that PHP's new polling API allows you to write more or better async code, but in reality, it was mostly designed to be a replacement for something that was already possible. The polling API will likely be useful to lower level frameworks like AMP or React PHP, and it may even lead to better performance in some cases, but nothing more than that. I've already made a dedicated video about the polling API, so make sure to check that one out after this one. I'll leave a link in the description. Then there's a new clamp function, and it's one of these things that makes you wonder, wasn't this in PHP before? It actually came with all of the major frameworks, but never built into PHP. And so that's changed now. Now the clamp function ensures that a given value is within a given bound, and if not, the nearest edge value is returned. And what's especially cool is that it doesn't just work with integers and floats, but also with strings and dates. Next is function parameter doc comments. I don't know how I feel about this one. It will probably take some time to get used to, but essentially it allows you to add doc comments to function parameters directly instead of adding one giant block on the function with add param tags. Again, it will probably take some time to get used to. We'll see. Then there are some changes to sessions. More specifically, some ini setting defaults have been changed to make them more secure. Session strict mode is enabled by default. Cookies are now marked as HTTP only by default, and same site is set to Lex as well. I also leave a link in the description to my blog post where I have a bit more info about these changes if you want to check them out. So finally, deprecations. Full disclosure, I like deprecations. I think they are a good way of evolving any language or library. And with modern PHP, I also feel it's pretty easy to deal with them thanks to tools like Rector and Mago that will basically upgrade your code base for you. Despite all of that, deprecations always tend to cause some backlash. I don't think they should, but I am expecting many developers to be vocally against them. I think, especially in this day and age, it's so important to keep your software up to date. And deprecations really shouldn't be a blocker to you. So PHP 8.6, there are some small features and changes that you'll find in the blog as well, but these are definitely the most important ones. I think partial function application will be a game changer. Time will have to tell, but you let me know what you're looking forward to the most in the comments, and also share your thoughts about deprecations. And while you're writing your comments down there, also leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.